Before we begin, please note that the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have seen in this video. The creators of this presentation are not medical professionals, and reliance on any information provided is solely at your own risk. You bought the yoga mat. You downloaded the app with the 7-day free trial. You even cleared that perfect little space in your living room, right by the window. For 3 glorious days, you were unstoppable. You felt the burn, you sweat, you were on top of the world. Then life happened. An urgent work email popped up right when you were about to start. The kids needed help with homework. The dog started barking at a squirrel. And just like that, tomorrow became the new plan. And for so many of us, tomorrow never came. That yoga mat is now a professional dust collector. And the app is just another forgotten subscription draining your bank account. If that story feels painfully familiar, I have something to tell you that might change everything. It is not your fault. Let me say that again. The reason you haven't stuck with your at-home fitness goals has almost nothing to do with a lack of willpower, discipline, or desire. It has everything to do with using the wrong map. You've been given a roadmap designed for a commercial gym, with its scheduled classes, social pressure, and $1,000 machines, and you've been told to make it work in the chaotic, distraction-filled environment of your own home. It's like trying to navigate New York City with a map of the Los Angeles freeways. You're destined to get lost. For years, we've been fed the same tired advice. Go big or go home. No pain, no gain. Just do it. But these slogans are the absolute worst advice for someone trying to build a sustainable fitness habit from their living room. They set you up for a cycle of intense motivation, followed by burnout, guilt, and eventually quitting. This is where we tear up that old useless map. Over the next several parts of this series, we are going to build you a new one. A blueprint, grounded in behavioral science, neuroscience, and the practical realities of modern life, for setting and actually achieving your fitness goals without ever needing to leave your house. We are going to stop relying on motivation, which is fleeting and unreliable, and start building systems which are durable and automatic. You are going to learn how to turn your brain from your biggest obstacle into your most powerful ally. We'll explore how to harness the power of dopamine, not for a quick hit of pleasure, but to literally rewire your brain to crave exercise. We'll deconstruct the anatomy of a habit loop and rebuild it so that starting your workout feels as automatic as brushing your teeth. The fundamental problem is that your home is a battlefield of conflicting cues. The couch screams relax, the kitchen whispers snack, and the laptop begs you to just check one more email. A gym, for all its faults, has one primary purpose. When you walk in, every single cue, the clanking weights, the music, the people in workout gear, tells your brain it's time to work. At home, you don't have that luxury. Your workout space is also your office, your movie theater, and your dining room. So how do you win that battle for your brain's attention? You don't win it with brute force or willpower. You win it with science. You win it by strategically designing your environment and your goals in a way that makes showing up the easiest possible choice. Think about the last goal you set. Was it something like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to work out 3 times a week? It sounds reasonable, right? You might have even heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. And while that's a step up from a vague wish, it's still a deeply flawed model for at-home fitness. Why? Because it focuses entirely on the outcome, not the process. It's a finish line without any directions on how to run the first mile, let alone the first step. Setting a big, audacious goal like losing 20 pounds can be incredibly motivating for about a week. But when the scale doesn't budge after a few days of hard work, that motivation plummets. Your brain, which is wired for immediate reward, sees a huge gap between the effort you're putting in and the result you're getting, and it hits the emergency brake. It tells you, this isn't working. It's too hard. Let's quit and conserve energy. This is the core of the problem. We've been taught to focus on the destination, but for building habits, the journey is the only thing that matters. The science is overwhelming on this point. Small, consistent actions repeated over time are infinitely more powerful than massive, infrequent bursts of effort. It's not about the one heroic hour-long sweat-drenched workout you do on a Tuesday. It's about the simple 5-minute routine you do every single day, no matter what. That consistency is what forges the neural pathways in your brain. It's what transforms a difficult, conscious decision into an effortless, unconscious habit. So, what we're going to do together is forget about the finish line for a while. We're going to put it out of our minds. Instead, we're going to become obsessed with the starting line. We're going to master the art of starting. We'll build a system so effective, so frictionless, that doing your workout becomes easier than not doing it. You'll learn the 2-minute rule, a simple but profound technique that can bypass your brain's resistance to starting a new habit. You'll discover the concept of implementation intentions, a scientifically backed method for pre-programming your behavior that studies have shown can double or even triple your chances of following through. We will craft a temptation bundle, linking something you love to do with the workout you've been avoiding, turning it from a chore into a treat. This isn't about finding the perfect workout program or the best diet. There are thousands of those online. This is about building the underlying psychological foundation that will allow you to stick with any program you choose. It's about installing a new operating system for your mind, one that defaults to action instead of procrastination. It's about finally understanding that fitness isn't a 6-week challenge. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered with the right techniques. The journey starts with a single critical step. And it has nothing to do with buying new running shoes or cleaning out your pantry. It's a mental shift so small you might dismiss it, yet so powerful it acts as the bedrock for everything that follows. It's the first domino we need to tip over to set the entire chain reaction in motion. The question is, what is that first non-negotiable step? What is the one thing you must define with absolute clarity before you ever do a single push-up or lunge? It's the true why behind your goal. And we're about to uncover a method to find it that goes far deeper than just wanting to get healthy. This method is a simple, powerful tool borrowed from the world of high-stakes engineering and adapted for the most important project you'll ever work on, yourself. It's called the 5 Whys. Originally developed by Toyota to find the root cause of manufacturing problems, it's a stunningly effective technique for digging past the surface-level desires to find the bedrock of your motivation. Because let's be honest, getting healthy is a weak foundation. It's vague. It's uninspiring. The first time you're tired after a long day at work and the couch is calling your name, getting healthy will lose the fight. Every single time. But a deeply personal, emotionally charged reason? That's your secret weapon. That's the voice that will speak louder than your exhaustion. So how does it work? It's as simple as asking why 5 times. You start with your surface-level goal, and with each question you peel back another layer like an onion until you get to the core. Let's walk through an example. Meet Alex. Alex is 35, works a desk job, and has a goal that sounds familiar to millions. I want to lose 20 pounds. That's the starting point. It's not a bad goal, but it has no soul. It's just a number on a scale. So we ask the first question. Why? Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Alex thinks for a moment and says, well, because my clothes don't fit right, and I want to feel more confident. Okay, that's a little better. We've moved from a number to a feeling, confidence. But it's still on the surface. So we dig deeper. Why number 2? Why is feeling more confident important to you? Because when I feel self-conscious about my body, Alex admits, I tend to shy away from social situations. I'll make excuses not to go to the beach with friends or avoid being in photos at family gatherings. Now we're getting somewhere. We're connecting the goal to specific behaviors and social consequences. The pain point is becoming clearer. It's not just about tight jeans. It's about a diminished life experience. Let's go again. Why number 3? Why does avoiding those social situations bother you so much? This is where it often gets emotional. Alex pauses. Because I feel like I'm becoming invisible. I'm watching life happen from the sidelines. I have this amazing 7-year-old daughter, and last summer at her pool party, she kept begging me to get in the water and play with her and her friends. I couldn't. I just sat on a chair, fully clothed, feeling ashamed. I told her the water was too cold. She knew I was lying. I saw the disappointment in her face. Wow, do you feel that? The shift? We've gone from losing 20 pounds to the heartbreaking image of a child's disappointment. This is no longer about vanity. This is about connection. This is about fatherhood. But we don't stop here. The root is even deeper. Why number 4? Why is that memory of your daughter's disappointment so powerful for you? Because, Alex says, his voice a little softer, my own dad was like that. He was a great man, but he was always tired, always on the sidelines. He never taught me how to throw a football, never coached my little league team, never ran around with me. I love him, but my memories of him are passive. He was a spectator in my childhood, and in that moment at the pool, I saw myself becoming him. And that terrifies me. There it is. The ghost in the machine. The ancestral pattern that Alex is desperately trying to break. This is the raw emotional core. We have one more why to go. The one that transforms this pain into a powerful, positive vision for the future. Final question. Why number 5? Why is it so crucial for you not to become a spectator in your daughter's life? Alex's eyes light up. There's no hesitation now, because I want her to have a different set of memories. I want her to remember her dad as the one who was in the pool creating a tidal wave. The dad who had the energy to chase her around the park until she was breathless with laughter. The dad who taught her how to ride a bike and ran alongside her for miles. I'm not just doing this to lose weight. I'm doing this to be the father my daughter deserves and the man I've always wanted to be. I am building a legacy of active, present, joyful memories. Now compare that. Compare I want to lose 20 pounds with I am building a legacy of active, present, joyful memories for my daughter. Which one do you think is going to get Alex to put on his workout shoes at 6 a.m. on a cold Tuesday morning? Which one is going to help him choose a healthy meal over takeout after a stressful day? It's not even a contest. The first is a wish. The second is an identity. It's a mission statement. This isn't just motivational fluff. There's real brain science at play here. When your goal is purely logical, like losing 20 pounds is good for my long-term health, you're primarily using your prefrontal cortex. That's the rational, thinking part of your brain. It's powerful, but it's also the part of your brain that's great at making rational excuses. Oh, I'm too tired today, I'll start tomorrow. One unhealthy meal won't hurt. But when you do the 5 whys, you drill down into your limbic system, the emotional core of your brain. This is the part that handles feelings, memories, and deep-seated motivation. By linking your fitness goal to core values like family, legacy, and identity, you're not just setting a goal, you're creating a powerful emotional anchor. You're weaving the goal into the very fabric of who you are. The motivation stops being something you have to find and starts being something you are. You are no longer a person trying to lose weight. You are a present, active father. You are a person who values their energy. You are someone who shows up for their life. That shift in identity is everything. So here's your task. Right now, or as soon as this video is over, I want you to grab a piece of paper or open a new note on your phone. Write your surface-level fitness goal at the top. Maybe it's lose 30 pounds, run a 5K, or get stronger. Then ask yourself why. And write down the answer. Be honest. Then look at that answer and ask why. Again. Keep going. Don't stop until you've asked it 5 times. Don't rush it. The first few answers might come easily, but the third or fourth why might make you pause. That's good. That means you're getting close. Let yourself be vulnerable. Let the real reason come to the surface. It might be about proving something to yourself. It might be about reclaiming a part of you that you feel you've lost. It might be about being a role model for your children just like Alex. Whatever it is, find it. Write it down. This is the single most important step in this entire process. Because a goal without a powerful why is just a boat with no engine, adrift in a sea of good intentions. Your why is the engine. It's the propeller. It's the thing that will power you through the inevitable storms and calm spells on your journey. Once you have that final core-level answer, you've found your foundation. You've struck motivational gold. But a powerful engine is useless without a well-designed vehicle and a clear map. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if your goal itself is poorly constructed, you're setting yourself up for failure. Most home fitness goals fail not from a lack of will, but from a flaw in their design. They're too vague, too big, or completely untethered from reality. So now that we've forged your unbreakable why, how do we build the perfect goal around it? How do we create a target that is so clear, so compelling, and so intelligently designed that your brain can't help but move towards it? We're about to build your roadmap using a framework that goes far beyond simple goal setting, ensuring every step you take is a guaranteed step forward. Now let's be perfectly honest with each other. The idea of a guaranteed step forward sounds amazing, but in the real world of messy lives, unexpected challenges, and the sheer force of old habits, nothing is ever truly guaranteed. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. Our goal here isn't to find a magic bullet. It's to stack the deck so completely in your favor, to rig the game with such precise psychological and behavioral science, that your success becomes the most likely, most probable, and most natural outcome. We're moving from wishful thinking to strategic certainty. To do that, we need to understand a fascinating psychological principle called the goal gradient hypothesis. Sounds complex, but you already know exactly how it works. Have you ever had a loyalty card at a coffee shop? You know, the one where you buy 9, get the 10th one free. Think about your motivation. When you get that first stamp, how do you feel? It's nice, but the free coffee feels a million miles away. You might even forget the card in your wallet for a few weeks. What about when you get the 8th or 9th stamp? Suddenly, that free coffee is all you can think about. You find yourself making excuses to go to that specific coffee shop. You speed up your behavior as you get closer to the reward. That's the goal gradient hypothesis in action. The closer we perceive ourselves to be to a goal, the more motivated we become to close the gap. Now let's apply this to fitness. Most people set goals that are the equivalent of looking at a completely empty coffee card. I want to lose 50 pounds. Or, I want to get a six-pack. These are fine destinations, but as starting points, they are motivation killers. The reward is so far in the distance that your brain, which is wired for more immediate feedback, simply checks out. It sees the enormous gap between where you are now and where you want to be, and it whispers, "That's too hard. It will take too long. Let's just watch another episode on Netflix instead." This is where nearly everyone fails. Not because they're lazy or unmotivated, but because their goals are structured in a way that works against their own brain chemistry. The secret isn't to have more willpower. It's to design a smarter game. A game with rewards that are always just around the corner. We do this by reverse engineering your ultimate vision into two distinct types of goals: outcome goals and process goals. Your outcome goal is the big one, the lose 50 pounds. It's your North Star. It gives you direction, a why to orient yourself, but we are going to respectfully put it on a high shelf and not look at it every day. Staring at the peak of Mount Everest from base camp is intimidating. Instead, we're going to focus on the path, one single step at a time. Those steps are your process goals. These are the small, repeatable, and most importantly, controllable actions that you take every day or every week. You can't directly control losing exactly 1 pound this week. Your weight fluctuates based on water, hormones, and a dozen other variables. But you can control whether you do a 20-minute home workout today. You can control whether you drink a glass of water before your meal. You can control whether you go for a 10-minute walk after dinner. Focusing on the process shifts your entire mindset from one of anxiety to one of empowerment. You're no longer judging yourself based on a number on the scale you can't fully control. Instead, you're measuring success by a simple metric. Did I do the thing I said I would do? Yes or no? This creates a powerful feedback loop. You do the small thing, you get a small win, your brain releases a little bit of dopamine and it thinks, hey, that felt good. I'm good at this. Let's do it again. But we can take this even deeper. This isn't just about checking boxes. Every single one of these small actions is a vote you cast for the type of person you want to become. This is the bridge between action and identity. You don't just do a workout. You cast a vote for, I am an active person. You don't just choose a salad. You cast a vote for, I am a healthy eater. The goal isn't to achieve a result. The goal is to become someone. The results, like weight loss or increased strength, are simply the byproduct of embodying that new identity. When you see each small action as a vote for your future self, it gives it a profound sense of meaning that goes far beyond just burning a few calories. So how do we put this all together into a practical system you can use right now? We're going to build a simple 3-tier framework for your goals. Tier 1 is your North Star. This is your big, emotional, outcome-based goal. But we're going to frame it not just as a number, but as a feeling or an ability. Instead of lose 30 pounds, maybe it's to have boundless energy to chase my kids around the park without feeling gassed. Instead of fit into my old jeans, maybe it's to walk into any room and feel strong, confident, and proud of the body that carries me. Get specific. Write it down. Feel it. This is your why. And then we put it away. We know where we're headed. Tier 2 is your quarterly milestones. The journey to your North Star is long, so we break it down into 90-day sprints. This is where the goal gradient hypothesis kicks in. A 90-day goal is close enough to feel real and urgent. It's a checkpoint. If your North Star is to lose 40 pounds in a year, your first 90-day milestone might be establish a consistent routine of 3 home workouts per week and lose the first 8 to 10 pounds. It's specific, measurable, and has a deadline. It's a significant chunk of progress, but not so big that it feels impossible. Now for the most important part, Tier 3, the 2-minute wins. This is your daily process goal stripped down to its absolute, most laughably simple version. The purpose of the 2-minute win isn't to transform your body in one session. Its sole purpose is to overcome inertia and build the habit of showing up. It's about casting that daily vote for your new identity. If your goal is to start doing home workouts, your 2-minute win isn't do a 45-minute HIIT session. It's put on your workout clothes and do 2 minutes of stretching in the living room. That's it. Anyone can do that. Even on your worst, most tired, least motivated day, you can convince yourself to do something for just 2 minutes. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah, a client I once worked with. Sarah was a busy marketing director with 2 young kids. Her North Star goal was to run a 5K race with her sister in 6 months. Her first attempt was to just start running. She'd get home from work exhausted and tell herself she needed to go run for 30 minutes. She lasted 4 days before quitting, feeling like a complete failure. Then we tried the 3-tier system. Her North Star stayed the same: run the 5K. Her first 90-day milestone was to be able to run continuously for 15 minutes without stopping. But her day 1 goal, her first 2-minute win, was simply this: put on your running shoes and walk to the end of your driveway and back. She laughed when I suggested it. Felt ridiculous. But she did it. And the next day she did it again. On the 3rd day, she walked to the end of the block. Within 2 weeks, she was walking for 10 minutes. Soon, she started jogging for 30 seconds during her walks. The 2-minute win wasn't the workout. It was the starting pistol. It was the vote that said, I am a runner, even when she was just walking to the mailbox. 6 months later, she crossed the finish line of that 5K, hand in hand with her sister. The most important step of that entire race wasn't the last one. It was the first one she took, right there in her own driveway. This is the system. It's not about finding a burst of superhuman motivation. It's about designing a process that makes starting easy, makes consistency inevitable, and harnesses the power of small, incremental progress to create an unstoppable momentum. You have your North Star for direction. You have your quarterly milestones to make the goal feel closer. And you have your 2-minute wins to guarantee that you show up, day after day, casting a vote for the person you are becoming. We've now built the what and the why. We have a scientifically backed roadmap that turns a massive, intimidating goal into a series of simple, manageable steps. But there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle. How do we make taking these steps, these 2-minute wins, as effortless as possible? How do we design our physical space, our own homes, to nudge us toward success instead of tempting us toward failure? We need to become the architects of our own environment. And in the next part, we're going to explore the science of choice architecture and turn your home into your single greatest ally on this journey. So, how do we become the architects of our own success? It starts by understanding a powerful concept from behavioral science: choice architecture. Now, that might sound complicated, but the idea is stunningly simple. It's not about restricting your freedom or banning your favorite foods. It's about consciously designing the world around you so that the best choice is also the easiest choice. Think about a school cafeteria. In one study, researchers simply moved the healthy food, like fruits and salads, to be at eye level at the front of the line. They put the less healthy options, like desserts and fries, in less convenient spots. They didn't ban anything. They didn't lecture the students. They just changed the layout. The result? Sales of healthy foods skyrocketed, and sales of unhealthy foods plummeted. The students still had a choice, but the environment was gently nudging them toward a better one. This is the secret. We all think our choices are the result of pure, rational deliberation. But they're not. They are massively influenced by the path of least resistance. Our brains are fundamentally lazy. Not in a bad way, they're just ruthlessly efficient. They evolved over millions of years to conserve energy. So, when faced with 2 options, we are biologically hardwired to gravitate toward the one that requires less effort, less thought, and less willpower. Willpower, as we've learned, is like a muscle. It gets tired. You can't rely on it to make hundreds of good decisions every single day. That's a losing battle. The winning strategy is to stop fighting a war of willpower and instead become a brilliant designer. You need to rig the game in your favor. This means you must strategically add friction to the bad habits and remove friction from the good ones. Let's start in the heart of the home, the place where most of our nutritional battles are won or lost: the kitchen. Right now, your kitchen is probably designed for convenience. But is it designed for your goals? Let's change that. Step 1 is to decrease the friction for healthy eating. When you get home from the grocery store tired and hungry, what's easier? Grabbing a handful of chips from the pantry, or washing, chopping, and preparing a vegetable stir-fry. The chips win every time. We need to flip that equation. This is where meal prepping becomes your superpower. Spending 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon washing and chopping all your vegetables, cooking a batch of quinoa, grilling some chicken, and portioning it into containers isn't just about saving time. It's about pre-making good decisions for your future self. The tired, stressed-out Tuesday night version of you doesn't have to make a choice. The smart, motivated Sunday version already did. The healthy meal is now the grab-and-go option. Next, think like a supermarket manager. They call it visual merchandising. The most profitable items are placed at eye level. Let's do the same for our health. Get a beautiful fruit bowl and put it right in the middle of your counter, filled with apples, bananas, and oranges. Take the healthy stuff out of the dark, hidden crisper drawer. Put the Greek yogurt, the pre-cut carrots, and the hummus on the top shelf of your fridge, right at eye level. When you open the door, that should be the first thing you see. Keep a pitcher of cold, filtered water with lemon or mint slices right at the front, instead of hiding it behind a carton of soda. You're making the healthy choice not just easy, but also obvious and appealing. Now, for the other side of the coin, we must increase friction for the habits that derail us. This isn't about deprivation, it's about intentionality. If you have a box of cookies sitting on your counter, it takes zero effort to grab one every time you walk by. The friction is non-existent. But what if that box of cookies wasn't in your house at all? What if, to get a cookie, you had to get your keys, get in the car, drive to the store, buy it, and drive back? The amount of friction is now massive. You might still do it occasionally, and that's fine. But it becomes a conscious, deliberate choice, not a mindless habit. For many, simply not buying the junk food in the first place is the single most effective environmental change they can make. Make your home a sanctuary, not a minefield of temptation. If it's not in your house, you can't eat it. But what about the things you already have? We apply the reverse principle of visual merchandising. Take the ice cream and put it at the very back of the freezer, behind the frozen spinach and a bag of ice. Take the chips and put them on the highest shelf in the pantry in an opaque container so you can't even see what they are. You might need a step stool to get to them. Just that tiny bit of extra effort gives your rational brain a moment to step in and ask, do I really want this? You're creating a pause, a moment of friction, where a better decision can be made. Now let's apply this same architectural mindset to our living spaces, engineering them for movement instead of passivity. Most of our homes are designed for one primary purpose, to sit down and relax. The couch is the centerpiece, pointing directly at the television. The remote control is within arm's reach. The entire environment screams, don't move. We need to disrupt that design. First, decrease the friction for your workouts. If your yoga mat is rolled up in a closet, your weights are under the bed, and your resistance bands are in a drawer, the effort of just starting a workout can be enough to stop you. Instead, create a dedicated, visible workout space. Doesn't have to be a full home gym. It can be a corner of your living room or bedroom. Leave your yoga mat permanently unrolled. Have your dumbbells or kettlebells sitting neatly next to the TV stand. Install a simple hook on the wall for your resistance bands. When you see your equipment, it acts as a visual cue, a constant reminder of your goals. The setup time is 0. You can go from thinking about a workout to doing it in less than 30 seconds. Another powerful technique is to lay out your workout clothes the night before. Put them on a chair right next to your bed. When you wake up, the very first decision of your day is already made for you. You don't have to think. You just put them on. Once you're in the clothes, you're more than halfway to actually doing the workout. Simultaneously, we need to add a little friction to our sedentary habits. Try this simple experiment. Take the remote control for your TV and place it on a shelf across the room. Now, every time you want to change the channel or adjust the volume, you have to physically get up off the couch. It's a tiny inconvenience, but it breaks the spell of passive consumption. It forces microbursts of movement into your day. You could even implement what are known as bright line rules. These are clear, simple, non-negotiable rules that remove the need for in-the-moment decision-making. For example, a bright line rule could be, I always stand up during commercial breaks, or, I never check my phone while sitting on the couch, I have to stand up to look at it. These rules function as a form of mental architecture, creating structure where there was none. They don't require willpower because there's no debate. It's just what you do. By making these small, deliberate changes, you are fundamentally altering your relationship with your home. It stops being a passive space where habits just happen to you, and it becomes an active tool, a partner that constantly, quietly nudges you toward the person you want to become. You're not just hoping for a different outcome. You are engineering the environment that makes that outcome almost inevitable. Now that we've redesigned our physical space to support our goals, we need to apply that same level of intelligent design to the workouts themselves. Because it's one thing to have your yoga mat unrolled, but it's another thing entirely to know what to do on it. How do we build a workout plan from scratch that is not only scientifically effective but is so perfectly tailored to our lives that it becomes almost impossible to quit? That is the art of sustainable programming, and it's exactly where we're going next. At the heart of sustainable programming lies a powerful concept borrowed from pharmacology and productivity hacking. It's called the minimum effective dose. The MED is the smallest dose that will produce a desired outcome. Think about it like this. To boil water, you need to heat it to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Heating it to 213, 250, or 500 degrees won't make it more boiled. It's just wasted energy. The MED is 212 degrees. The same principle applies to your fitness. There is a minimum amount of exercise required to trigger the physiological adaptations, the muscle growth, the fat loss, the cardiovascular improvements that you're looking for. And here's the secret that the fitness industry rarely talks about. For a beginner, that dose is shockingly small. We've been conditioned to believe that a real workout has to be a grueling, hour-long sweat-drenched ordeal that leaves you sore for days. We see influencers crushing insane workouts and think, that's what it takes. So, we try to go from 0 to 100. We jump into a 5-day-a-week high-intensity program, and for a few days, maybe even a week, our motivation carries us. But it's not sustainable. Our body isn't ready. Our schedule isn't ready. Our mind isn't ready. And when we inevitably miss a day, that all-or-nothing thinking kicks in. We feel like we've failed. The momentum shatters and we quit, telling ourselves we just don't have the discipline. But it was never about discipline. It was about dosage. You wouldn't try to run a marathon on your first day of jogging. You wouldn't try to lift 300 pounds on your first day in the gym. So why do we apply that same flawed logic to our overall workout plan? The art of sustainable programming is about finding your personal minimum effective dose. The workout that is so manageable, so unintimidating, that it's easier to do it than to make an excuse to avoid it. This is how we build the foundation of a habit that lasts a lifetime. So let's build it. Right now, we're going to architect your starter program around 3 fundamental pillars: frequency, duration, and modality. The when, the how long, and the what. First, pillar 1, frequency. How often should you work out? The answer is not 7 days a week. It's not even 5. The correct answer is as many days as you can realistically and consistently commit to without feeling overwhelmed. I want you to pull out your calendar, or just mentally picture your upcoming week. Not your ideal week where you wake up at 5 a.m. full of energy. Your real week, the one with the stressful project at work, the kids' soccer practice, the unexpected errands, and the desire to just collapse on the couch at the end of the day. Look at that real week and find the gaps. I'm not asking you to find 5 one-hour slots. I'm asking you to find 2 or 3 20-minute slots. Maybe it's Tuesday morning before you shower. Maybe it's Thursday right after work. Maybe it's Saturday afternoon. Circle them. These are your non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Let's say you pick 2 days. That's it. That's your starting frequency. 2 workouts a week. Is that enough to see results? Absolutely. Because 2 workouts you actually do are infinitely more powerful than the 5 workouts you plan but consistently skip. We are playing the long game here. And in the long game, consistency is the undisputed champion. Next, pillar 2, duration. How long does each workout need to be? This is where the MED becomes our superpower. We're going to throw out the idea that a workout needs to be 45 or 60 minutes long. Your starting duration is just 15 minutes. That's it. 15. I want you to think about how psychologically powerful that is. The mental barrier to starting a 15-minute workout is practically non-existent. It's less time than it takes to scroll through social media or watch a few YouTube videos. It's so short, your brain can't even build a convincing case to skip it. This is a strategy known as habit formation. The goal of these first few weeks isn't to maximize calorie burn. It's to make showing up automatic. It's to build the identity of someone who works out. And what you'll often find is that on some days, once you get through that 15 minutes, you feel good. You have momentum. And you might just decide to do an extra 5 or 10 minutes. But you don't have to. The commitment was 15. You showed up, you did the work, you won the day. This simple act builds a positive feedback loop that makes you want to come back for the next session. Finally, pillar 3, modality. What do you actually do during those 15 minutes? This is where we get overwhelmed by choice. Thousands of exercises, endless workout styles. We're going to simplify it down to the absolute essentials. A truly effective, full-body workout doesn't require 100 different exercises. It just requires you to train the body's fundamental movement patterns. Think of these as the building blocks of human strength. They are the squat, the hinge, the push, the pull, and bracing your core. Let's break them down. A squat is simply sitting down and standing up. It's the king of lower body movements. A hinge is bending over by pushing your hips back while keeping your back straight. Think of picking up a heavy box correctly. A push is moving a weight away from your body like a push-up. A pull is bringing a weight towards your body, like pulling open a heavy door. And bracing your core is about keeping your midsection stable and strong like in a plank. Your mission is to pick just one simple bodyweight exercise for each of these patterns. For the squat, it can be a simple bodyweight squat. If that's too hard, do a chair squat where you literally sit down onto a chair and stand back up without using your hands. For the hinge, it can be a bodyweight good morning, where you just practice that hip bending motion. For the push, it can be a wall push-up, or an incline push-up with your hands on a sturdy table or the arm of your couch. For the pull, this one is the trickiest at home, but you can do a doorway row. Grab the sides of a door frame, lean back, and pull your chest towards the door. And for the core, a simple plank, holding it for as long as you can with good form. So let's put it all together into your first draft program. Your frequency is 2 days a week. Let's say Tuesday and Saturday. Your duration is 15 minutes. Here's what your 15-minute workout could look like. Start with a 2-minute warm-up. Some arm circles, leg swings, just getting the body moving. Then you'll do a circuit for 10 minutes. You'll perform each of your 5 chosen exercises for 40 seconds, followed by 20 seconds of rest before moving to the next one. So 40 seconds of chair squats, rest 20. 40 seconds of incline push-ups, rest 20. 40 seconds of doorway rows, rest 20. 40 seconds of good mornings, rest 20. And 40 seconds of a plank, rest 20. That's one full round, and it takes exactly 5 minutes. You do that circuit 2 times through. That's your 10-minute workout. Finish with a 3-minute cool down of light stretching. That's it. That is your minimum effective dose. It is a scientifically sound, full-body workout that is balanced, safe for a beginner, and most importantly, it is achievable. It's not intimidating. It's a clear, simple plan that removes all the guesswork and friction that cause people to quit. Now, for the final and perhaps most important piece of this programming puzzle. It's a psychological rule that will protect your progress and make your habit unbreakable. Is this: you have permission to miss a workout. Life is unpredictable. You'll get sick, you'll have a terrible day at work, you'll be exhausted. You will, at some point, miss one of your scheduled days. And when you do, you have not failed. You are not off track. You have not broken the system. The only real rule you must follow is this: never miss twice in a row. If you miss your Tuesday workout, you absolutely must do something on Wednesday. Doesn't have to be the full 15 minutes. Can be 5 minutes. Can be 10 squats and 10 push-ups. The goal is to simply keep the chain of consistency alive. This one rule prevents the what the hell effect, that downward spiral where one missed workout makes you feel like a failure, so you skip the next one and the one after that until you've fallen off completely. By following the never miss twice rule, a slip-up becomes a minor blip, not a catastrophe. So now you have it. A complete blueprint for a workout program that is built not on willpower, but on science and psychology. A program designed to be so manageable that it seamlessly integrates into your life, building momentum week after week. We've built the engine. But an engine is useless unless you know how to add fuel and press the accelerator. We have our consistent schedule, but how do we make sure we're actually getting stronger, fitter, or moving closer to our specific goal? How do we turn this simple 15-minute routine into a powerful force for real, visible change? That requires understanding the single most important principle in all of fitness: the law of progressive overload. It's the secret to turning these small, consistent efforts into life-altering results. And we're going to break down exactly how you can apply it from your living room in our very next part. So let's talk about the ancient Greek legend, Milo of Croton. It's a story that's been told for over 2,000 years, not because it's about a mythological hero with superpowers, but because it perfectly illustrates the single most important principle for changing your body. Milo, a legendary wrestler, wanted to become the strongest man in the world. His method was deceptively simple. He found a newborn calf and he lifted it. The next day he went back and lifted it again. He did this every single day. As the calf grew, getting a little heavier each day, so did Milo's strength. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and after 4 years, Milo wasn't lifting a small calf anymore. He was hoisting a fully grown bull onto his shoulders. This story isn't just a fable. It's a perfect metaphor for progressive overload. Your body is a remarkable adaptation machine. It doesn't want to waste energy. When you introduce a stress like lifting a weight or doing a set of squats, your body says, "Whoa, that was tough. I better build myself a little stronger so that's easier next time." It repairs the tiny micro-tears in your muscle fibers and rebuilds them, but not to the same level as before. It builds them back slightly stronger, slightly more capable. But here's the critical part. If you come back next week and present it with the exact same stress, the same weight, the same reps, the same calf, your body has no reason to adapt further. It's already prepared for that challenge. It says, "Oh, this again? I've got this." And you stay exactly where you are. To continue getting stronger, to continue seeing results, the challenge must progressively increase. Just like Milo, you have to lift a slightly heavier calf each time. Now you're probably thinking, "That's great for an ancient Greek wrestler, but I don't have a growing bull in my apartment. I have a pair of dumbbells and a yoga mat. How do I apply this?" This is where most at-home fitness plans fall apart. They give you a workout, but they don't give you the system for growth. Progressive overload is that system, and you have far more tools to achieve it than you think. The most obvious way is to increase the resistance or the weight. If you're using dumbbells and you successfully completed 3 sets of 10 bicep curls with 15 pounds, the next step is to try the 20-pound dumbbells. But what about body weight exercises? This is where you get creative. Let's take the push-up. Once you can comfortably do 15 or 20 standard push-ups, you're not stuck. You can make it harder by changing your leverage. Put your feet up on a chair or the couch. This shifts more of your body weight onto your chest and arms, instantly increasing the resistance. You can also wear a backpack with a few books in it. Or you can progress towards a more difficult variation like a one-arm push-up by starting with archer push-ups, shifting your weight from side to side. The same logic applies to squats. Once bodyweight squats become easy, you can hold a dumbbell, progress to a single leg variation like a pistol squat or a Bulgarian split squat, which dramatically increases the demand on each leg. But increasing weight is only one dial you can turn. The second, and perhaps simplest, way to progressively overload is by increasing your repetitions or reps. Let's say last week you did 8 push-ups before your form broke down. This week, your one and only goal for that set is to get 9. That's it. Just one more rep. It sounds almost too small to matter, but that single extra rep is a signal to your body that it needs to adapt. A great framework is to work within a rep range, say 8 to 12 reps. For a given exercise, you might start at 8 reps with a certain weight. You stick with that weight until you can do 12 clean, well-formed reps. Once you hit 12, that's your signal. The next time you do that workout, you increase the weight and drop back down to 8 reps, and the cycle begins again. This gives you a clear, systematic path forward. Third, you can increase the number of sets you perform. If your program calls for 3 sets of squats, and you complete them successfully, next week you could try for 4 sets. This increases your total workout volume, the total amount of work your muscles are doing. It's another powerful stimulus for growth. You're essentially telling your body, not only do I need you to be strong, I need you to maintain that strength for longer. A fourth, more advanced variable is decreasing your rest time between sets. If you normally rest for 90 seconds, try resting for only 75 or even 60 seconds. This makes the workout more dense and challenging. Your muscles get less time to recover, forcing them to adapt to working under greater fatigue. This also has the side benefit of boosting the cardiovascular challenge of your strength workout, making it more time efficient. The fifth method is one of the most overlooked and most important: improving your form and range of motion. Going from a partial depth squat to a full, grass is greener deep squat is a massive form of progressive overload. Even with the same weight, you're forcing the muscles to work through a longer, more challenging path. The same goes for push-ups. Are you stopping a few inches from the floor? Or are you getting your chest all the way down? Mastering the full range of motion of an exercise before adding more weight or reps is not just safer. It is a legitimate and powerful way to make an exercise harder and more effective. Sixth, you can increase your training frequency. This doesn't mean working out the same muscle group into the ground every single day. It means being strategic. If you're doing one big leg day per week, you could potentially see better results by splitting that workout into 2 smaller sessions, one on Monday and one on Thursday, for example. This allows you to hit the muscles more frequently with a fresh, high-quality stimulus, which can be a powerful driver for adaptation. especially for stubborn muscle groups. And finally, a seventh technique that is perfect for at-home workouts: increasing time under tension. This simply means performing your reps more slowly. Instead of just dropping into a squat and popping back up, try a controlled 3-second descent, a 1-second pause at the bottom, and a 2-second ascent. Suddenly, a simple bodyweight squat feels incredibly difficult. You're forcing your muscles to stay engaged and work for a much longer period during each repetition, creating a huge stimulus for growth without any extra equipment at all. Now, all of this sounds great in theory, but it's useless without one crucial habit: tracking your workouts. You cannot progressively overload what you do not measure. This doesn't have to be complicated. Get a simple notebook and a pen, or use an app on your phone. For each workout, write down the date, the exercises you did, the weight you used, and the sets and reps you completed. That's it. This little book becomes your roadmap. It removes all the guesswork. You don't walk into your living room and wonder, what should I do today? How much should I lift? You just open your logbook, look at what you did last Tuesday, and your mission becomes crystal clear. Last week I did 3 sets of 10 dumbbell rows with 25 pounds. Today I'm going for 11 reps. It transforms your workout from a random collection of exercises into a deliberate, focused practice. It's the difference between wandering in the wilderness and following a map to your destination. This engine of progressive overload, this systematic, patient, day-by-day lifting of a slightly heavier calf, is the absolute key to unlocking the results you want. But this powerful engine requires the right kind of fuel. You can have the best training plan in the world, meticulously tracking every single rep, but without understanding how to eat for your goals, you're essentially trying to drive a race car on empty. So, how do you build a simple, effective nutrition plan from home without counting every single calorie or giving up the foods you love? That's the blueprint we're laying out next. The first thing we need to do is throw out the rulebook. Forget everything you've heard about good foods and bad foods. Forget about starvation diets, juice cleanses, and the idea that you have to eat bland, boring chicken and broccoli for the rest of your life to see results. That entire mindset is a trap. It's designed for failure because it's built on a foundation of deprivation, and human beings are not wired for long-term deprivation. The real secret, the sustainable approach that actually works, is built on addition, not subtraction. It's about building a framework that is so simple, so intuitive, that it becomes second nature. The foundation of this framework is a principle you've probably heard of in business or economics, but it's one of the most powerful concepts you can apply to your health: the 80-20 rule. For our purposes, let's call it the 80-20th plate. The concept is stunningly simple. 80% of the time, you focus on eating whole, nutrient-dense foods that fuel your body and your goals. The other 20% of the time, you eat the foods that fuel your soul. The pizza, the ice cream, the burger, the cookie. No guilt. No shame. No calling it a cheat meal. It's just part of the plan. Why does this work? Because it shatters the all-or-nothing mentality. On a traditional diet, one bad meal can make you feel like you failed completely, leading you to abandon the entire effort. With the 80-20 approach, that bad meal is factored in. It's an expected, planned part of the process. This psychological shift is monumental. It transforms your relationship with food from one of restriction and anxiety to one of balance and freedom. It makes consistency not just possible but easy. So let's focus on the 80%. How do we make that part simple and effective without a calculator and a food scale? We use a 3-letter acronym: PFC. Protein, fiber, and healthy fats. These are the 3 pillars of a satisfying, goal-oriented meal. Every time you build a plate, you're just asking yourself, where's my protein, where's my fiber, and where are my healthy fats? Let's start with protein, the undisputed king of macronutrients for fitness. Protein is the literal building block of your body. When you work out, you create tiny micro tears in your muscle fibers. Protein is what comes in and repairs those tears, making the muscle stronger and more dense. This is how you build that toned, athletic look. But it does more. Protein is also the most satiating macronutrient, meaning it keeps you feeling fuller for longer, which is a game changer for managing hunger. Plus, it has a higher thermic effect of food, which is a fancy way of saying your body burns more calories just digesting protein compared to fats or carbs. We're talking about things like grilled chicken, fish, lean beef, eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, lentils, and quality protein powders. This is your number 1 priority on the plate. Next up is fiber, which primarily comes from our carbohydrates and vegetables. Carbs have been demonized for years, but let me be clear. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Uncontrolled blood sugar is the enemy. The right carbs are your body's preferred source of energy. They fuel your workouts and replenish your energy stores afterward. The key is to choose high-fiber carbohydrates. Fiber slows down digestion, which prevents those crazy blood sugar spikes and crashes that leave you feeling tired and craving junk food. This means sustained energy throughout the day. Think of things like sweet potatoes, oats, quinoa, brown rice, beans, and every vegetable you can imagine, especially leafy greens. Load your plate with color. Finally, we have healthy fats. For decades, we were told to fear fat, but now we know that was a massive mistake. Healthy fats are absolutely essential for your body to function correctly. They play a critical role in producing hormones, including the ones that help build muscle and burn fat. They help absorb essential vitamins, reduce inflammation, and even keep your brain healthy. We're talking about avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, and fatty fish like salmon. Fats are incredibly nutrient-dense, so you don't need a huge amount, but including them in your meals is non-negotiable for optimal health. Now you might be thinking, that's great, but how much of each? This is where we ditch the scales and counting apps and use the most personalized measurement tool on the planet, your own hand. This is the hand portion system, and it is a revolutionary way to manage your intake without the obsession. For protein, you'll aim for a portion that is the size and thickness of your palm. For most people, that's about 4 to 6 ounces. For fiber-rich carbs like potatoes or rice, you'll use a cupped hand. For vegetables, which are packed with fiber and micronutrients, you'll aim for 1 to 2 fist-sized portions. The more, the better. And for healthy fats like oils, nuts, or seeds, you'll aim for a thumb-sized portion. The beauty of this system is that it's tailored to you. A larger person will naturally have a larger hand, and thus larger portions, which corresponds to their higher energy needs. A smaller person will have a smaller hand and smaller portions. It automatically scales to your body size. It's a simple visual guide you can use anywhere at home, at a restaurant, or at a family barbecue. Let's build a perfect plate for lunch using this system. You grab your plate. First, protein. You add a palm-sized portion of grilled salmon. Next, fiber. You add a cupped hand of quinoa and then 2 fists worth of roasted asparagus and cherry tomatoes. Finally, healthy fats. The salmon already contains healthy fats, but you could add a thumb-sized drizzle of olive oil over the vegetables before roasting them. There it is. A perfectly balanced, delicious meal that took 0 counting and 0 stress to assemble. What about that other 20%? This is the art of intentional indulgence. It's not a free-for-all. It's about consciously choosing to include the foods you love in a structured way. For example, if you eat 3 main meals a day, that's 21 meals in a week. 20% of that is roughly 4 meals. So for times a week, you can have that pasta dish from your favorite Italian restaurant, or the burger and fries you've been thinking about without an ounce of guilt. Or maybe you prefer to spread it out, having a small 150-calorie treat every day like a couple of squares of dark chocolate or a small cookie after dinner. The method doesn't matter as much as the mindset. You are in control. The food doesn't control you. By planning these indulgences, you eliminate the cravings and the potential for a weekend-long binge that undoes all your progress. And we can't talk about nutrition without mentioning the single most important and most overlooked nutrient of all: water. Your body is about 60% water. Every single metabolic process, including burning fat and building muscle, relies on it. Dehydration can reduce your physical performance, slow your metabolism, and even trick your brain into thinking you're hungry when you're just thirsty. The simplest habit you can build is to drink a large glass of water first thing in the morning, before coffee, before anything else. Another great strategy is to get a reusable water bottle and set a goal for how many times you need to refill it throughout the day. It's a small change with a massive impact. So the blueprint is simple. Focus 80% of your efforts on building PFC plates using the hand portion system. Intentionally plan your 20% soul food. And stay hydrated. This isn't a diet. It's a nutritional framework for life. It's flexible, sustainable, and it frees you from the prison of calorie counting. You can have the most dialed-in workout plan and a perfect nutrition strategy, but if you're not recovering properly, you're just flooring the gas pedal with the emergency brake on. The real magic, the actual muscle growth and fat loss, doesn't happen when you're working out. It happens when you rest. More specifically, it happens when you sleep. So, how do you turn your sleep into a powerful tool that supercharges your results and accelerates your progress? That's the secret we're unlocking next. Most people think of sleep as passive. It's the time when your brain and body just switch off. But that couldn't be further from the truth. When it comes to your fitness goals, sleep isn't downtime. It's performance time. It's the active biological process where all the hard work you put in during your workout gets translated into actual physical change. Think of your body like a construction site. Your workout is the demolition and planning phase. You're breaking down muscle fibers and telling your body what you want it to build. But the actual construction, the rebuilding, the reinforcing, the making things bigger and stronger, that happens almost exclusively under the cover of darkness while you sleep. The master foreman of this nightly construction crew is a powerful molecule called human growth hormone, or HGH. And here's the critical piece of information. Your body releases the vast majority of its daily HGH during the deep stages of sleep. This isn't just a small trickle, it's a massive surge. HGH is the key that unlocks muscle repair, helps your body utilize fat for energy, and strengthens your bones. When you get deep quality sleep, you are essentially flooding your system with the most potent, natural performance enhancer known to science. Skimp on sleep, and you're telling the construction crew to take the night off. The materials are there, the blueprint is ready, but nobody shows up to do the work. The result? Slower progress, longer recovery times, and a feeling of always being sore and tired. But HGH isn't the only player on the field. Sleep orchestrates a complex hormonal symphony, and when one instrument is out of tune, the whole performance suffers. The villain in this story is a hormone you've likely heard of, cortisol. It's the primary stress hormone. In a healthy cycle, cortisol is high in the morning to wake you up and gradually tapers off throughout the day. However, poor sleep throws this entire rhythm into chaos. When you don't get enough quality rest, your cortisol levels can remain elevated at night and into the next day. Chronically high cortisol is the enemy of your fitness goals. It's catabolic, meaning it can actively break down muscle tissue for energy, the exact opposite of what you're trying to achieve. It also signals your body to store more fat, particularly visceral fat around your abdomen. So you could be doing everything right with your workouts and nutrition, but if your sleep is poor, you're fighting a constant uphill battle against a hormone that's actively working to undo your progress. Then there are the hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Think of them as the managers of your appetite. Ghrelin is the go signal. It tells your brain, I'm hungry, let's eat. Leptin is the stop signal. It tells your brain, I'm full, we're good. A good night's sleep keeps these two in perfect balance. But just one night of poor sleep can throw a wrench in the works. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation causes ghrelin levels to spike and leptin levels to plummet. This creates a perfect storm of cravings. Your body is physically screaming for more food, while the signal that tells you you're full is muffled. And what does it crave? Not broccoli and chicken breast. It craves high-calorie, high-sugar, high-fat foods. It's a primal survival mechanism. Your tired brain is looking for the quickest, easiest source of energy it can find. That feeling of having zero willpower after a bad night's sleep isn't a character flaw. It's a predictable hormonal response. By optimizing your sleep, you're not just recovering better. You're setting yourself up for effortless nutritional success the next day. So, if sleep is this powerful, how do we get more of the good stuff? It's not just about quantity, it's about quality. You need to create an environment and a routine that signals to your body that it's time to power down and begin the vital work of recovery. Let's start with your bedroom. It needs to be a sanctuary for sleep and nothing else. This starts with making it a cave. Cool, dark, and quiet. First, darkness. Your brain is exquisitely sensitive to light. Even a tiny amount can disrupt the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. Invest in blackout curtains. Cover the little LED lights on your TV, your power strips, your chargers. That tiny blue or red light is a signal to your brain that it's still daytime. If you can't make your room perfectly dark, a comfortable sleep mask is an incredibly effective tool. Second, coolness. Your body's core temperature needs to drop by a couple of degrees to initiate and maintain deep sleep. The ideal temperature for most people is somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. It might feel a bit chilly at first, but a cool room is one of the most powerful sleep aids there is. If your body is fighting to cool itself down, it's not focusing on deep restorative sleep. Third, quiet. This one is obvious but often overlooked. Traffic, a snoring partner, a noisy neighbor. These can all pull you out of the deeper stages of sleep, even if you don't consciously wake up. Simple solutions like earplugs or a white noise machine can create a consistent, peaceful auditory environment that masks disruptive sounds. Once your environment is dialed in, The next step is creating a non-negotiable wind-down routine. You can't expect to go from 100 miles per hour to a dead sleep in 5 minutes. You need to give your brain and body a transition period. The single most important part of this routine is the digital sunset. The blue light emitted from our phones, tablets, and computer screens is particularly effective at suppressing melatonin. It essentially tricks your brain into thinking it's the middle of the day. You need to declare a screen curfew, at least 60 to 90 minutes before your intended bedtime. No more scrolling in bed. Instead, replace that habit with something relaxing. Read a physical book. Listen to a calming podcast or an audiobook. Do some light stretching or foam rolling. Journaling is another fantastic option. It helps you get any racing thoughts out of your head and onto paper, clearing your mind for rest. What you consume in the evening also matters immensely. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, which means if you have a cup of coffee at 3 p.m., a quarter of that caffeine could still be circulating in your system at 9 p.m., disrupting your ability to fall into a deep sleep. A general guideline is to cut off all caffeine at least 8 hours before bed. And while a glass of wine might make you feel drowsy, alcohol is a major saboteur of sleep quality. It might help you fall asleep faster, but it significantly disrupts your REM sleep later in the night, which is crucial for mental restoration and memory consolidation. You wake up feeling groggy and unrefreshed, even if you were in bed for 8 hours. Finally, the bedrock of excellent sleep hygiene is consistency. Your body thrives on routine. It has an internal 24-hour clock called the circadian rhythm, and this clock governs everything from your hormone release to your body temperature. By going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, yes, even on weekends, you anchor this rhythm. Your body learns when to expect to sleep and when to expect to wake up. It starts producing melatonin on schedule and begins the wind-down process automatically. Many people try to catch up on sleep over the weekend, but research suggests that while it might help reduce some of the immediate fatigue, it doesn't fully erase the negative metabolic and hormonal effects of sleep deprivation during the week. Consistency is far more powerful than compensation. When you're working out from home, you have a unique advantage. You control your schedule. You don't have a long commute eating into your evening. You can use that extra time to create a powerful wind-down ritual. You can prioritize that final hour of the day to prepare your body for its most important job. Don't view sleep as a luxury or as time lost. See it for what it is, the other half of your workout. It's the invisible, silent, and absolutely essential process that turns your effort into results. You put in the work, you break the muscle down, and then you hand the reins over to your body's brilliant, innate recovery system. By mastering your sleep, you are taking control of your hormones, optimizing your recovery, and ensuring your mind and body are primed for success day after day. But even with perfect sleep, perfect nutrition, and a perfect workout plan, there's one final elusive element that determines whether you stick with it for the long haul or burn out after a few months. It's the psychological game. How do you stay motivated when progress stalls? How do you push through the inevitable plateaus and keep the fire burning? That's the code we're cracking next. First, let's reframe the entire concept of a plateau. A plateau isn't a sign that you've failed. It's a sign that you've succeeded. It's proof that your body has adapted to the stress you've been putting on it. Think about it. The workout that left you breathless and sore 2 months ago now feels manageable. That's not a problem, that's a victory. Your body is an incredible adaptation machine. It got stronger, more efficient, and it's now telling you, okay, I've mastered this level. What's next? The plateau is a checkpoint, not a dead end. It's the game asking if you're ready to level up. Physiologically, a few things are happening. One is metabolic adaptation. Your body has become so efficient at your routine that it's now burning fewer calories to do the exact same amount of work. It's like your car's engine getting a tune-up and suddenly having better fuel economy. It's a good thing, but it means you need to drive it a little differently to get the same results. Another factor is neuromuscular efficiency. Your brain and your muscles have built a superhighway of communication. The movements are smoother, more coordinated, and require less energy. Again, this is a sign of progress, of skill acquisition. Your body is trying to achieve homeostasis, a state of balance. It has successfully balanced the new demands, and now it's coasting. Our job is to strategically disrupt that balance to spark new growth. So how do we do it? The first and most powerful tool is a concept we've touched on, but now we apply it with surgical precision: progressive overload. But it's not just about adding more weight to a dumbbell. That's only one tool in the toolbox. We need to think in 4 dimensions: intensity, volume, frequency, and exercise variation. Let's start with intensity. If you've been doing 3 sets of 10 push-ups with a 60-second rest, try cutting that rest to 45 seconds or even 30. Your heart rate will stay higher, your muscles will have less time to recover between sets, and you'll be introducing a new kind of stress. Or you could make the exercise itself more intense. Instead of regular squats, you could try pause squats, holding at the bottom for 3 seconds, or jump squats, adding an explosive element. You haven't added weight, but you've dramatically increased the intensity. Next is volume. This is the total amount of work you're doing. The simplest way to increase volume is to add another set to your main exercises. Been doing 3 sets of everything? For the next few weeks, do 4. Or you could keep the sets the same but aim for more repetitions. If you hit 12 reps on your rows last week, your goal this week is 13. Even 1 extra rep is progress. It's a signal to your body that the old standard is no longer enough. Then there's frequency. If you're working out 3 days a week, and your body is recovering well, you could consider adding a 4th day. Maybe it's a shorter, high-intensity session, or a day dedicated to a lagging body part. This increases your total weekly volume and sends another powerful signal for adaptation. Finally, and perhaps the most fun, is exercise variation. Your body gets used to the same movement patterns. The single best way to shock a muscle into new growth is to hit it from an angle it isn't expecting. If you've been doing dumbbell bench presses for months, switch to push-up variations like decline push-ups or archer push-ups. If your go-to is the classic lunge, try Bulgarian split squats. This not only challenges the muscles in a new way, but also keeps your workouts mentally fresh and engaging, which is a massive win for motivation. Now, here's a strategy that sounds completely backward, but is one of the most effective tools used by elite athletes to smash through plateaus: the deload week. A deload week is a planned week of significantly reduced training intensity and volume. You don't stop working out entirely, you just pull back. You might use 50% of your usual weight, do fewer sets, or focus on mobility and light cardio. The logic is simple. Your muscles recover relatively quickly, but your central nervous system, your joints, and your ligaments take much longer. A plateau is often a sign of accumulated fatigue that you don't even realize you have. A deload week allows your entire system to fully repair, supercompensate, and come back dramatically stronger. It's not a week off. It's a strategic reload. It feels counterintuitive to take your foot off the gas when you want to go faster, but it's often the very thing that allows your engine to perform at its peak the following week. But what if the issue isn't your workout? Often, a plateau is a sign that your nutrition needs to level up with your fitness. As you build more muscle and get fitter, your body's fuel requirements change. The diet that helped you lose the first 15 pounds might not be the right one to help you lose the next 15. You may need to conduct a nutritional audit. Are you eating enough protein to support muscle repair and growth? A common guideline for active individuals is around 0.7 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Are you eating enough calories, period? Sometimes, in an effort to lose weight, people cut calories too drastically for too long, which can cause the metabolism to downshift to conserve energy, stalling progress. Fueling your body properly isn't about restriction. It's about giving your high-performance engine the premium fuel it needs to keep adapting. Beyond the physical, the mental game is where plateaus are truly won or lost. The number on the scale can be a terrible measure of progress. It fluctuates with water retention, salt intake, and a dozen other factors. More importantly, if you are strength training, you are likely building muscle while losing fat. Muscle is far denser than fat. You could lose a pound of fat and gain a pound of muscle, and the scale won't budge. But your body composition has completely changed for the better. You are literally becoming leaner and stronger, but the scale is telling you failed. This is why you must have other ways to measure success. This is where non-scale victories, or NSVs, become your new best friend. Take progress photos once a month in the same lighting and same pose. You will be stunned by the visual changes that the scale completely ignores. Take body measurements, your waist, hips, arms. Seeing the inches drop is concrete data. And then there are the performance metrics. Last month you could only do 5 push-ups. Now you can do 10. You used to use 15-pound dumbbells. Now you're using 20s. You couldn't run a mile without stopping. Now you can. This is undeniable progress. Celebrate these wins. Write them down in your journal. These are the victories that will fuel you when the scale is being stubborn. To truly make this sustainable, you need to shift your mindset from a goal-oriented approach to an identity-based one. Instead of thinking, "I am a person trying to lose 20 pounds," start thinking, I am an active, healthy person. An active, healthy person doesn't quit when progress stalls. They don't see a plateau as a reason to give up. They see it as a puzzle to solve. They adjust their training, audit their nutrition, and focus on their performance. Their identity isn't tied to a number on the scale. It's tied to the consistent actions they take every day. And for those days when motivation is zero, I want to give you a simple but incredibly powerful rule. The 2-day rule. It's okay to miss a workout. Life gets in the way. You get sick, you have a deadline, you're exhausted. Perfection is impossible. But the rule is this. Never miss 2 days in a row. 1 missed day is an anomaly. 2 missed days is the start of a new negative habit. By committing to the 2-day rule, you give yourself grace and flexibility while ensuring that a single slip-up never turns into a downward spiral. It's the ultimate tool for building long-term consistency. Ultimately, when the initial excitement fades and the plateau hits, you have to reconnect with your deep, emotional why. The what was your goal? Run a 5K, lose the weight. But the why is the reason that goal matters. To have the energy to play with your children without getting winded. To feel confident and strong in your own skin. To be healthy enough to travel and experience the world for decades to come. The what can stall. The why is your permanent, renewable source of fuel. We've now armed you with the physical and mental strategies to not just face plateaus, but to shatter them. You now see them not as walls but as stepping stones. You have the tools, you have the mindset. But there's one final layer. How do we integrate all of this, the goal setting, the habit formation, the plateau busting, so seamlessly into your life that it becomes second nature? How do we build a system that runs on autopilot, securing your health and fitness not just for the next year but for a lifetime? That's the final blueprint we're laying out next. The answer lies in shifting our entire perspective. We stop trying to force ourselves into a routine and instead, we architect an environment where that routine is the path of least resistance. This isn't about willpower. It's about intelligent design. This is the final blueprint. Building your fitness autopilot system. A self-sustaining ecosystem for lifelong health, right within the 4 walls of your home. The first and most critical layer of this system is your environment. Your home is not a neutral space. It's either working for you or against you. Right now, your environment is perfectly designed to get you the results you're currently getting. To change the results, you must change the environment. We do this by manipulating a simple human tendency. We are fundamentally lazy. We follow the easiest path. So, we make the good habits easy and the bad habits hard. Think about it. To make working out easy, you don't just schedule it. You reduce the friction to near zero. Lay out your workout clothes and shoes the night before, so they're the first thing you see. Keep your resistance bands hooked over your office doorknob. Place your yoga mat unrolled in the corner of the living room. A constant, silent invitation. If you want to drink more water, keep a filled water bottle on your desk at all times. The goal is to make starting the good habit take less than 2 minutes of effort. Conversely, you must increase the friction for habits that sabotage your goals. If you mindlessly snack on chips while watching TV, stop buying them. Or, at the very least, move them to the highest shelf in the pantry behind 3 other things. You've now added effort. You have to get a chair, reach and dig. That small moment of friction is often enough for your logical brain to ask, do I really want this? If you waste time scrolling on your phone when you should be working out, put your phone in a different room or in a drawer during your designated fitness time. You are literally engineering a space where the right choice is the easiest choice. This isn't about being a superhero of self-control. It's about being an architect of your own behavior. The second layer of the autopilot system is the most profound. It's about shifting from outcome-based goals to identity-based goals. For weeks, we've talked about setting goals like losing 15 pounds or doing 20 push-ups. Those are outcomes. They are vital for direction, but they are not what sustains you. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. You don't just do a workout, you become an active person. The goal isn't just to eat a healthy meal. It's to become the type of person who fuels their body with nourishing food. This sounds abstract, but it's incredibly practical. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. When you choose to do a 10-minute stretch instead of hitting snooze, you cast a vote for, I am a person who prioritizes my well-being. When you choose water over soda, you cast a vote for, I am a healthy person. These are small, almost insignificant acts on their own. But they are not insignificant. They are the building blocks of a new identity. The focus shifts from chasing a result to simply showing up as the person you want to be. An active person moves every day, even if it's just a walk. A healthy person makes conscious food choices, even if they aren't perfect. You prove your new identity to yourself with small wins, over and over, until the evidence is undeniable. When you truly believe this is who I am, you no longer need motivation to act. You're just being yourself. Now, even with the perfect environment and a shifting identity, life will happen. You'll get sick. You'll have a crazy week at work. You will miss a workout. This is where most people fall off. They break the chain, feel guilty, and declare the whole thing a failure. But the autopilot system has a built-in fail-safe, the never miss twice rule. This is the golden rule of habit formation. It's simple. You can miss one day. Forgive yourself, it's part of the process. But you do not, under any circumstances, miss 2 days in a row. One missed workout is an anomaly. 2 missed workouts is the beginning of a new, negative habit. Missing twice is a vote against your new identity. By committing to this one rule, you build incredible resilience. Had a terrible Tuesday and ate a whole pizza and skipped your workout? Fine. But on Wednesday you show up. You do something. Even if it's just 5 minutes of jumping jacks. You get back on track immediately. This rule transforms failure from a catastrophe into a simple data point. It builds the muscle of recovery, which is far more important for long-term success than the muscle of perfection. The final component that makes this system run on autopilot is the review and refine loop. You have to become the CEO of your own health. A good CEO doesn't just set a strategy and walk away. They constantly review the data, see what's working, and adjust the plan. Schedule a 15-minute meeting with yourself once a month. No judgment, just observation. Ask yourself, what worked this month? What felt good? What did I struggle with? Maybe you realize you hate burpees with a passion. Great. That's data. You can swap them for a different cardio exercise. Maybe you find that working out at 6 a.m. is making you miserable. The data says, try a lunch hour workout instead. This process of regular review and refinement ensures your system evolves with you. It prevents boredom and burnout. It allows you to adapt to new life circumstances, a new job, a change in family life, without letting your entire fitness foundation crumble. You're not locked into a rigid plan you found online. You are building a bespoke, flexible system designed for one person. You. It's a living, breathing blueprint that gets smarter over time. And that's how it all connects. We started this journey by cutting through the noise, understanding the real science of what drives us. We learned how to set goals that weren't just dreams, but actionable plans. We transformed our homes from places of comfort into powerful personal gyms. We demystified nutrition, turning food into fuel. We learned how to smash through the inevitable plateaus that stop so many in their tracks. And now we've laid the final piece, the system that makes it all last. By designing your environment, you make good choices automatic. By building a new identity, you make motivation irrelevant. By never missing twice, you make yourself unstoppable. And by constantly reviewing and refining, you ensure your system serves you for the rest of your life. This was never about a 90-day transformation or getting a beach body. Those are fleeting. This was about something far more permanent. It was about reclaiming your power, your energy, your health, using the resources you already have. It was about forging a new relationship with your body and your home. The person who started this series is not the same person listening right now. You now have the knowledge. You have the tools. You have the blueprint. The journey isn't over. It's just becoming part of who you are. The real achievement was never the goal itself, but in building the person capable of achieving it. That person is you. Now go live it.